If you want to go long range for cheaper, this is the way to do it. I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Guys, welcome back to the channel, and thanks for subscribing to find out what's new in the RC and the FPV hobby. Today we're checking out something brand new from EMAX USA. This is the Aeris Link. It is a brand new ELRS 2.4 module. I also have a 915 module sitting over there, and these modules come in for the JR version. This is the larger version for around $49.99. They also have a $38 version, which is the Nano module, and it looks like we can get that one at 915 or 2.4 gigahertz. Let me show you what's inside the box of the 2.4 gigahertz version, and again, this goes up to 1 watt, so that's pretty good for around $49. This is the module itself. It does have a built-in fan with LEDs that change color. As you go up in power, it goes kind of more to a purple color, and all the way down to say around 50 hertz, it goes down to kind of like a light blue, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And you can also power with this one up to around a 4S battery, but they say they recommend a 2S battery for external power. It also comes with this sort of mini diamond antenna, very cool because it looks a lot like my kind of a shrunk down version of my Crossfire antenna. That just screws on just like that, and they have an EMAX logo on the very top of that. This plugs into the back of my TX16S, and you can see on the back it says Express LRS 2.4 gigahertz, and it shows you that you can power from 2 to 4S. And again, EMAX recommends a 2S battery for external power. Now let me show you what also comes in the 915 megahertz box. This is the 915 megahertz module. You also get a little QR code there to scan to get product support and the manuals. This screws on the top here. And there's not a lot of difference between these two modules, but they both will do long range, and this one is going to be compatible with probably more transmitters and receivers, and this one will be probably for more long range. It has a little bit taller antenna, and it kind of looks like an Immortal T from TBS, which is interesting. But this one is the 915 and this one is the 2.4. So let's go ahead and plug in one of these. Let me show you the interface on here. Okay, so I have the Aeris plugged into the back of my TX16S, and make sure you never turn on one of these modules without plugging in the antenna. Just make sure it's screwed on first, and go ahead and select external power in your radio. That way you have it light up when it comes on. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the radio now, and you're going to hear the fan kick on possibly. We're going to take you through some of the menus as well. So now it should go ahead and load up. You see the ELRS logo there come up. That's cool. And now the fan's kicking on, and right away on the OLED screen it shows us ELRS. It shows us that I have it updated to 3.00. It's on 500 hertz, and it's pumping right now 1000 milliwatts, so it should get pretty hot pretty quick. Also, we see that we have telemetry and 1-128 there. If you want to change the LED colors, well, that's pretty easy to do. You just go into the menus and you change the power, and as you go down you'll see a kind of a light blue here, and as you go up it'll kind of be more of a purple color. So to get to the menus, we're just going to press down here, long press, and it takes us to our packet right there. I can press again, and here's where I can change this to D500, F500, up to 1000, and you see it change there. It changes to sort of a yellow color, and I can go down here. We'll go back to 500, D500. Now let's go down a little further. 250, you can see it's kind of green now. So as I go down in power, so let's go 333. It's a little bluer there, and we go down to 150. It goes almost purple there. And so as you go down, it looks like it goes purple. I thought it was going purple on the way up, but apparently it's kind of red to purple in the lower packet rates. So we're going to go all the way back to about 500. I like that for the best latency, less latency to my receiver. So you can also, again, power it by XT30 here. Put your battery on the back of your radio, which is cool. If you push up, you will go into VTX admin, and then here we can change the VTX channels. If you're using your receiver setup with your module, you can do it that way, but most people are just going to use smart audio these days, so I probably won't be using that function right there. So we'll go up again. You can go send, pit mode, power, band, channel, and if we long press, it should take us out back to the main menu. Okay, so now we're at the main menu again. We can long press again, and we can go up to Wi-Fi admin. And this is cool because here we can change TX Wi-Fi, press it to update Wi-Fi, and you see there what you need to enter into your browser to connect to this module on your computer. So now we're at the main menu again. I'll press again and hold, and we'll go up to bind mode, and this will simply bind to your receiver. This puts the module into bind mode. Send and bind request. Now it's sending bind request. That's cool. So that's pretty easy to use. BLE gamepad, this is kind of cool. You can go in here to press to start a BLE joystick. So you can change it from Bluetooth gamepad. Looks like those are options there, but we don't have one plugged in, so long press again, and we can, and this has quite a few options in here. It's kind of cool, and this is way easier to read than my Crossfire module. Telemetry ratio, standard, race, 1.2, 1.4, 8, 0.16, 32, 64, 128, and off. So we're going to leave that on standard for the telemetry, and this is probably one of your most used menus here. Max power, you can also change it to dynamic. Right now it's on 1000, and I can go 500, 250, 100, and there's max power. And again, I can change it all the way down to about 25 milliwatt, which if you're close in flying, say a tiny whoop in a bar or something like that, you can do that. If you're flying long range, you can crank it all the way up to max power, which is cool. So I'm going to leave mine on max power. You can also set it to dynamic power, off and on. So right there, if I'm closer in, I don't want to be running 1000 on the bench. Only when I'm flying further away is it going to change as I go out, which is cool. So now we're back on the main menu, and you can see the telemetry there. You can see that I'm set to 500 hertz, and right now it's running dynamic power, which you can see 10 milliwatt on the bench. And this is kind of cool if you want to set it to this so that you don't overheat your module and you don't overuse the energy that you're putting out from your radio to the module. So if you want to have kind of full power, if you're running 1 watt on here, I would suggest using the external XT30 power port right there with something like a, say like a 2S 2000 milliamp battery, or even a 3000 milliamp, probably be the biggest that I would go there. It'd be pretty big on the back of your transmitter. You can see that I do have a little piece of Velcro here, and that's usually how I put my battery on the back. Just let it hang down from here, and I do the same exact thing with my Crossfire module. Now EMAX says on their website that the OpenTX is supported for this module, but mine also works with EdgeTX. I'm using EdgeTX, and it seems to work just fine for binding up to my receivers. Just make sure that your receivers are updated to the latest version that matches your module. So I'm going to go ahead into the model menu right now, and I want to show people how to turn on this, because some of you guys might be using this for the first time and you've never turned off internal RF. You just need to go down to external RF, turn on CRSF, and then it will light up the back of the module for you. Once you press CRSF, you can look on the back of the radio, and you should see that your module did start up and show an OLED screen. And before I let you go, I wanted you guys to see the difference between the full-blown Crossfire module from TBS. This one is running up to 2 watt, so it can get super hot. It also has an XT30 connector in the very bottom and a USB port for firmware updates if you're using TBS Agent. But if you're going to use the ELRS, these are a good price. This one is around the $200 price point, and these are $50. If you decide to get the nano version of one of these, the 915 or the 2.4 gig, it's going to be around $38, and that includes the antennas with these as well. So I think that's a pretty good value. If you look on the very bottom of these modules, there's also the USB-C port here for direct access to update the module. So that does not stick out on the back of the module. I kind of wish that the USB port was somewhere on the back so that we could fire it up and do a firmware update directly to it like that. That would be pretty cool. But I think for their first module release on ELRS, I think this is pretty cool. So they're also giving us a choice of 915 or 2.4. And honestly, if you asked me, you know, which one should I get? Well, it depends on what you're going to do. If you're going to do just general flying, you want to get the 2.4 version. This is the one with the diamond antenna. If you want to get 915 for longer range, if you're doing more long range wings, planes, say 7-inch drones, get the 915 one. That's what I would do, and that's what Crossfire is running on. So yeah, there's a lot of options out there for you guys now, and these are just a little bit cheaper and much smaller than TBS Crossfire module, and they're open source, which is cool. So I love ELRS and where it's going. It's getting easier all the time, so if you want to jump into it, give it a shot, grab one of these modules. If you need support, put some comments in this video down below and the community will try to help you out. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm Justin Davis, and I will definitely see you guys on the next one. Hope you like these little modules. I think they're pretty cool. I'm going to be testing these out in the upcoming months. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one.